my 2016 Vyasa-puja meeting. I thank you for undertaking the austerity of travel in cold weather to gather as a family and recognize our spiritual relationship as guru and disciples. Those of you who received Diksha from me have been my disciples for many years. Those who are Shiksha disciples may have joined me more recently. But in either case, it's important that we keep alive the spiritual connection. As an ISKCON guru, I gave you Diksha to link you to Srila Prabhupada, who is the preeminent Shiksha guru and founder Acharya of all the devotees in ISKCON. I gave you the Hare Krishna mantra on behalf of Srila Prabhupada, and that binds us permanently as guru and disciple. The Vedic scriptures say that one must accept the spiritual master in order to approach Krishna. So you are Prabhupada's followers and my followers also. You follow Prabhupada by reading his books, by associating in the ISKCON temple of your Prabhupada Desh, your place of service, by your relationship to the holy dhams, Mayapur and Vrindavan in India, and in so many other ways. You follow me by reading my books and keeping true to the vows you made to me to avoid the four sinful activities: illicit sex, intoxication, eating, and gambling, and to chant 16 rounds daily. These are personal promises you made to me before the sacred fire and the deities. And by following them, you get the mercy of Prabhupada and Krishna. By disobeying them, you displease Prabhupada and Krishna, and your whereabouts are unknown. It does not matter that you took Diksha from me many years ago when you were young. I remember talking to a disciple of Prabhupada who was no longer following his vows. He told me that he could no longer be held responsible for promises he made when he was 19 years old. I told him that he was old enough when he made those promises personally to Srila Prabhupada, and that it's an eternal bond, not something you give up when you grow older. Similarly, the vows you made to me are not something you give up when you grow older. If you break them, you can't make advancement in Krishna consciousness. You may have an accidental fall down, and Krishna says that is rectified by being resolutely resolved in devotional service. But if you permanently abandon the vows, you're doomed. The best way to keep alive your initiation day is to keep alive relationship with your guru. Attend these meetings at Stuyvesant Falls twice a year. Read my books. There's a website called SDGlegacy.com which was started and is run by my Shiksha disciple Ishwara Govinda. It lists 180 books in e-book form. They can be loaded down on an e-reader and read very conveniently. Recently I had a visit from my senior disciple from Guyana, Paramatma. For a long time he's been an avid reader of my books. He takes them very seriously as a guide to his spiritual life. He takes notes while he reads, and he uses these as quotes in his lectures. So while he was here for 2 weeks, I mentioned to him that if he saw any books in the ashram that he doesn't have, he can take them. He told me that he had been reading my postings on Facebook when a godbrother of his told him about SDGlegacy.com. He went there and he was astounded to see almost all my books posted. He's read many of my books, but he saw many titles that he had never heard of before. So what he did was, he went out and got himself an iPad. He loaded down all the books for free, and now he reads them conveniently. He travels, so he can't stock books with himself, but he reads them all on his slim apparatus. He showed me how he reads on the iPad. It even has a device where you can enlarge the print to make it more comfortable on your eyes. I like that. And I saw that you don't have to be a computer wizard to operate it. Even I can do it. I have a Kindle reader, and I have Prabhupada's books downloaded. I mentioned Paramatma's example because I think it's a rare one. I don't believe many of my disciples read my e-books, but you should seriously consider it. It's a very convenient way to have all the books in one place. The e-books will never replace the paper books. There's something special about turning the pages in a paper book. So we will always go on publishing at least a book a year in America. In India, my disciple Nitai is reprinting my old books that have gone out of print. Right now he's publishing the series Prabhupada Meditations that was first published in 4 volumes and has long been out of print. He's publishing it in 2 volumes with a nice cover. I find that an exciting publishing event. He plans to publish 4 to 6 books a year, and he distributes them in India. In Russia, my disciples Ishana, Devidasi, and her husband Arjuna have been translating my books for many years into the Russian language, and publishing them and personally distributing them by thousands at festivals. So the paper books will never go out of style, but the e-books are a solid alternative. I advise you to look into. You should also correspond with me. Send me an email and I'll write you back. You can visit me individually. Keep it alive, a loving relationship. You may have vague memories of your initiation. You'll have to excuse me, my voice is a little scratchy. You may have vague memories of your initiation, but it was the most auspicious day in your life. You received the Hare Krishna mantra in Sampradaya. There's a verse in the Padma Purana that goes, Sampradaya vihina ye mantras te nispalamata. The meaning is, if the mantra you have received was not received in Sampradaya, it will not have any effect. Chanting the Hare Krishna mantra on your own without the link doesn't have the same potency. When you get initiated, you become linked to Srila Prabhupada, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, Goswami, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and all the acharyas in the Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya. And what is the Hare Krishna mantra that you received at initiation, endorsed by the spiritual master, and chanted on your beads, and backed up by the vows you faithfully took before the sacred fire and the deities? It is the only recommended sacrifice for the age of Kali. Harinama, 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 Harinama eva kevalam. Kalonas jevanas 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 jeva gataranyata. It is emphasized 3 times in the Brihanavadiya Purana. There is no alternative, there is no alternative, there is no alternative in the age of Kali except chanting the holy name, chanting the holy name, chanting the holy name of the Lord. This is the great gift you received at initiation, and you promised to chant 16 rounds a day. After chanting conscientiously for decades, it is expected that you have mostly overcome the 10 offenses and are beginning to taste the nectar of the holy name in japa and kirtan. This is your passport to the spiritual world as you chant the Hare Krishna mantra at the time of your death. There is another inconceivable blessing that you received at initiation. It is not expected that when you first join the movement as a bhakta or bhaktin, that you are free from all sinful reactions in this life and many past lives. But by the act of initiation, all sinful karmic reactions are removed. Prabhupada wrote me this personally in a letter in answer to my inquiry. He said that initiation is like pulling out the plug on an electric fan. Any suffering that we experience after initiation is like the winding down of the movements of the fan. It is not karma. As long as we don't commit new sinful activities, we are free of karmic reactions. And Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that an accidental fall down will be rectified by your being resolutely resolved in devotional service. We were probably following the 4 rules and chanting 16 rounds before we were actually initiated. But once we take the solemn vow before the spiritual master and witnesses, it becomes an irrevocable promise, something that we will never give up. I'm trying to refresh your memory of initiation and its significance because it's such an important event in your life. Even today, it forms the root of our relationship. I gave you so much at initiation. Mahamantra and Sampradaya, release from karmic reactions, and you vowed so much, giving up of sinful activities, and the promise to chant Hare Krishna 16 rounds a day, that it should not be forgotten. It's the foundation of your spiritual life. Some devotees like to recognize their annual date of initiation and how many years have passed since then. I think this is a nice practice. Each year you can thank me for giving your Diksha, and I can thank you for being a faithful disciple and faithful to your vows. Finally, I want to say a few words about Shiksha Guru and Shiksha disciples. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, in the Adi Lila, chapter 1, called The Spiritual Masters, it is stated that the initiating spiritual master and the instructing spiritual master are equal and identical. Some devotees are approaching me for a Shiksha relationship. They are doing this mainly by reading my books. In fact, some of the Shiksha disciples read my books more than the Diksha disciples. What I have said about the promises the Diksha disciples make applies to Shiksha disciples. For the relationship to be real, they should give up the 4 sinful activities, chant 16 rounds, read my writings, correspond with me, visit me individually, and form an intimate relationship. And all disciples should render service to the Guru. Stated in the 4th chapter of Bhagavad Gita that one should approach a spiritual master and surrender to him. One should inquire submissively and render service unto the Guru. Who is self-realized because he has seen the truth. Prabhupada very much emphasized service for his disciples. He was very practical. Even from the very beginning in 1966, we understood that we should render service to Swamiji. My service was to type his manuscripts and to donate money from my job. Ramananda's service was to be temple president. Gargamuni's service was to sell incense. And we all had our connection with Swamiji in that way. And it's continued in that way in ISKCON. One more thing about Shiksha Guru, you can accept more than one Shiksha Guru. All right, that's all I'm going to say. I spoke briefly because I want to leave time for the homages. You can speak or read anything you like, but I'll give a suggestion. You may choose to speak on the topic of my talk, initiation. Tell what made you decide to go ahead and make the commitment. Why you chose me as your spiritual master. The date and place of your initiation. And any personal memories of the day, that especially. Any exchanges you had with me, or any other outstanding memories. We've used different methods to allow devotees to speak in order. For a while, we used to have the senior devotees speak first, but then the devotees who were less senior complained that they never got a chance to speak their homage. So one year we tried alphabetical order. This year I'm going to call on the devotees at random. Please don't speak more than 3 or 4 minutes so that we can give everyone a chance. First, I'm going to call on Baladev Vijayalusana before he sneaks off to the kitchen to prepare the feast. I'll speak about initiation.